What a story. Coming up next, we have two principals from a 70s band that lit up radio for a couple of years with 3 big hits, including 2 that are still played all the time today. But then the group up and vanished. I love these stories. One retired as a rock star and went into politics. Today's classic 70s hit was actually written by a band member's wife while she was doing laundry. One story claims she wrote it on an envelope, and one says it was on a napkin. But the band recorded it in about 15 minutes. It became a top 5 smash, and it conquered pop culture and was released on a record that had one of the strangest album covers of the time. It may have kept him out of number 1. The interview is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember those long boxes that CDs used to come in for a few years, you're going to dig this channel. Daily nostalgia, love it. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Make sure also to click the bell so that you get our content daily. We do it every single day. Check out our offering on Patreon as well. We give you more content that helps us do more interviews. And we also have new merch, including this Professor of Rock shirt that is below. So it's time for another episode, another edition of our series, Revelations. This is where featured artists reveal rare stories about their greatest songs and their greatest albums. So today we have 2 original members from the 70s band Orleans, singer, guitarist, songwriter John Hall, and bassist, singer Lance Hoppen. John Hall was actually a member of the U.S. House of Representatives for 2 terms. Now the 2 of them are going to tell us the story of their 70s classic, Still the One. Now, some have called Still the One yacht rock gold. I say it's just good old classic rock. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comments. So let's get right into it. Now, as we go into this song, this interview, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. These are the frames that I wear every single day. I love it because you can design the sides, the inside. I've got Professor Rock on the side. You can put whatever you want. Zenni, you shop according to the shape of your face. That ensures you always have really amazing, stylish looks based on your preference. You'll always look great, and you can see how you look with their mirror feature before you buy. Here's Lance and John with the story. Everybody knows this song. They sing it to the top of their lungs. It's just one of those feel-good classics, Still the One. We're still having fun, and you're still the one. 1976. Number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Should have been a number 1 hit, in my opinion. And it has that classic shirtless cover. Everybody remembers that cover.
Right, the naked cover, they call it, which we've been ridiculed for. There are some worst album cover of all time lists that has made the top 10 or the top 5.
What a great song.
This is a case of the lyrics coming first. And Johanna was talking to a friend of ours who was going through a divorce, and she asked if Johanna could write a song, or if we could write a song about people staying together, because there were so many songs about people breaking up. And Johanna handed me this envelope where she had written, "We've been together since way back when," etc. The entire song, all the couplets, still the one that can scratch my itch, still the one I wouldn't switch, the whole song. And said, "Do you think he can do anything with this?" And I, sat down and thought Chuck Berry and played that. And it was, quick. The music came quickly, 15 minutes, something like that. Once again, we cut that one 3 times, different configurations. We thought we were done with it. And I remember the first approach we had was kind of a shuffle, like ta-da, 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 ta-da. And Chuck was going, "No, that's not it." And we wound up with more of a tubey, like a boom, 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 with that, kick and snare beat are the same way through the whole thing. One of the things I remember about that is that when we were mixing it, Chuck had brought in Val Garay, who's a very famous LA mixdown engineer, had done things like Betty Davis Eyes. She got Betty Davis eyes. We were getting ready to mix. This was before automation, the mixing. So we had the 2-inch tape going around the reels behind us, And there's a console, and Val's sitting in the middle of it, and Chuck Plotkin's over to the right grabbing a couple faders. I think Larry was on the top writing, guitars, or I was writing tom-toms. Lance might have had a hand in there doing something. I mean, we were all basically trying to do what automation does. And we rehearsed it once. Okay, let's roll the tape and try to get our moves down so that this guitar lick comes up to be loud enough, or this vocal line. Make sure that's above the tom-tom fill so you can hear it, the words of it, and so on. We said, okay, let's go. And we rolled it. I guess we nailed it. Because while we're rolling the tape back to listen to that mix, Val Garay gets up, puts his coat on, his girlfriend's at the door, and he said, we're going to lunch. We'll start in the next tune in an hour. And we're going like, wait, we're paying you a huge amount of money to mix this. We want to hear it at least before you go for lunch and make sure this really is the one. He said, my hands were shaking. I know that was it. And sure enough, it was.
I don't know if that's true, but it's a good story. So we won't mess with that. We don't let the facts interrupt that. Could be true. I don't remember. What I do remember, though, is that song was a song among songs. We'd been playing it live in a different kind of groove, kind of I was going for a Little Feat thing, something quirky. Not straight ahead like that. Wells was not feeling well that day. He had a bug of some kind. So he didn't come to the studio. So by default, Jerry was the drummer. Not that he wouldn't have been, but it might have gone a different way. And between Jerry and Chuck, like being very specific, like boom, that, boom, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom. That's it. Like play that. That locked it in, into that feel that makes it work, not a shuffle. So there's a lot of details, you could throw at the story, but no, I don't think anybody predicted it was going to be a hit. But nobody could have predicted the ubiquity of it, like the pervasiveness into American culture that it's become by virtue of endless usages, from the ABC TV theme song for 2 years. Still the one with something new. Still the one. To endless commercials and movies and TV and political campaigns. And in fact, we're in, 2 movies next year, John? And
yeah.
A golf course in Vegas and a casino in Utah and a this and a that, and it doesn't end. We wouldn't also not have predicted the longevity of this band. It was great to have the heyday because it's enabled us over the years to keep playing. And it's not like we've played every year. It's been resurrected many times over the 5 decades. Most of the time, we've been a working band.
I think we take for granted these classic songs sometimes. To write a signature song that the whole world is singing, that's a very rare thing. Much bigger than this chart position. I mean, it went to the top 5. That's great. But this is a song that I'll bet you if we go back and look at the top 5 from that week, this is one of the most played songs 40 years later, 50 years later.
Yeah, it's interesting. I grew up listening to WABC AM radio from New York, big top 40, 100,000 watt clear channel station at night. And I was growing up in Elmira, New York, way out in the western part of the state. But I got used to hearing that station. Well, when Still the One finally, our careers blossomed all those years later after I was listening to that station as a kid. And Still the One got to number 2 on WABC in New York. And the song that kept us out of the number 1 spot was Disco Duck. So I'm just really glad we don't have to go out on the road and play Disco Duck every night. There's no stopping a duck in his beat. So I got back up to try.
I heard a story, and that's what's great about the urban legends that we had in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s that were passed around. What's the real story? What's the urban legend? But there was an urban legend that your then wife, Johanna, wrote the lyrics on a napkin.
Yeah, it was an envelope, but it's the same idea. You grab whatever's closest that you can write on. So the idea doesn't go away. You have to, get something down. I used to carry a little notebook in my car to write down song ideas because they come to me at, unpredictable times. I could be riding in a car and hear something in my head or think of a phrase that seems like it would be a good start for a song. And I always try to get them down as quickly as possible for that reason.
In fact, I think you even read an interview somewhere where Johanna said that she thought it was a napkin and she thought of it when she was doing laundry.
It's possible she's right. I'm working on a song now called You Can Have the Last Word.
Chuck Plotkin, like you guys were saying, it wasn't an automatic choice to be lead single. Chuck Plotkin had a real belief in this song.
I don't doubt it. Chuck was head of A&R, BP. He was, he wasn't a player. He wasn't a singer. He was a student of music. He understood songwriting, even though he wasn't a songwriter. He understood composition. He understood a lot and feel and such. So if he intuited correctly that was the one to go with. But I don't even think he would have surmised, the lengths to which he would go.
We're still having fun, and you're still the one.
He's kind of a man on the street listener. When he's listening to you, if I'm like playing new songs for him or we're playing demos, tape demos for him, whatever, he'd be drumming on his knees. And he just, always thought of himself as kind of an amateur drummer, but he would be drumming on his knees until something happened in the tape or something, or in the song when we were rehearsing it. We'd get to a certain section, he would stop drumming, he would like wave his hands. Hey, what just happened there? I was feeling it. And I was drumming on my knees, and all of a sudden it went away. What was that? And he would make us take songs apart and put them back together.
Well, and he's done so much great work with Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, to be able to have it as a jingle by ABC when they were the highest rated network in the country for 2 years there, that's incredible.
It is. It was used in the same year by Burger King and Nutrisystem, so you could lose weight and gain weight with Still the One.
It's been widely used in political campaigns. You had to kind of stop, from what I understand, like George W. Bush and John McCain, and it was also played at the Democratic National Convention. Applebee's TV campaign.
Applebee's is still the one.
You're still the one that I love.
You go on and on about the movie. Sonny and Cher Show, Will and Grace, Touched by an Angel, My Name is Earl, Love, Wedding, Marriage. Bill Anderson had a country hit with it.
I want to talk to in bed. Still the one.
It's a Will Ferrell Christmas movie for next year. Is that true?
It's Will Forte and Kristen Wiig and some other folks.
And there's also a horror movie?
And there's a horror movie, yeah. And as Lance said, there's a casino in Utah that's about to use it. But it pays for us to be musicians. Thank God we have, we have a couple of things we can hang our hat on.
Yeah, let's talk about Dance With Me. Second single from Orleans 2, breakthrough hit for you guys in 75.
Dance with me. I want to be a partner.
Tell me about writing that song.
I was playing guitar. It was some, beautiful early morning. And I was playing the guitar figure. I would go, sit down with a guitar, acoustic guitar in this case, and just like look for things, just kind of noodling on the guitar. And Johanna was in the kitchen, heard me playing that figure and said, that sounds like Dance With Me. We came up with the first verse and chorus right away and then had a writer's block. And Larry actually heard the song and said, you better finish that song. Sounds like a hit song. And he was right.
Fantasy could never be so killing.
We were driving back from Ithaca, New York, one of our stomping grounds, to the Woodstock area. And I was driving and Johanna was in the right front seat. And all of a sudden she says, pick the beat up and kick your feet up, and starts scribbling on that ubiquitous envelope.
Pick the beat up and kick your feet up.
And by the time I get home, the lyric was done. But we wound up doing it in kind of unconventional fashion. We didn't cut it with the drums. We cut it with acoustic guitar, keyboard, and small change in his pocket, I think it was, and brushes on a drum stool.
Let it lift you up.
I mean, there was just, it needed the flexibility. It's not like by today's standard, it would be a bad time because it drifts a little bit. It has a little, flexibility, which is music. I mean, it's since the advent of drum machines, people have gotten to want everything exactly on to be. And this is a case where if it goes, I can take you where you want to go. Oh, dance with me, it would be a fermata or a retard in classical music. And it's not that exaggerated, but it breathes.
Dance with me.
Well, and he also had that melodica solo, which is so amazing as the song's instrumental bridge.
Well, melodica it's called a hooter. That's why the Hooters use that name. It's a small wind reedy keyboard instrument, right? Had we been using it before, John, for anything? I don't really know how.
I believe the first version of Dance We had a whistling solo on it.
Right. It's
If I remember correctly.
Well, where did we even get it, the melodica, to want to use it on that? That escapes me. But I do know that when we cut it, Chuck explained to Larry the contour of it. He says, imagine you're in the woods. You see a distance, there's a fire and some people gathered around it, and you're walking slowly into this gathering. And then as you get there, then you get more. And so that was his picture of what it's supposed to be. And then Larry had to interpret that. And all it meant was let the first phrase go by, and answer it. That's what it meant. But with Chuck spoke in those terms, and that's how it got translated.
What do you guys have planned for the 50th anniversary?
Well, we have quite a few dates already booked for next year. I think when we finally were done with the Christmas album after 7 months, nobody wanted to do any of that anymore. Not now. We switched gears. We went on the road, been playing gigs till now. So we really have 2 years to put out a 50th anniversary album.
Looking back on your career and your personal life and all things considered, what are you most grateful for?
Boy, that's a big question. I'm grateful for the gift of doing something I love for a living.
Yeah, that's essentially it, is that the world has allowed us to make a living at what our calling is. And some people don't even know what their calling is, let alone make a living at it. Some people do and can't make a living at it. And it's not like it's always been easy, and it's not like it's the only thing I've ever had to do to make a living. I've had other work, when things were not so good, but it's just so great now. I mean, my 60s have been stellar. If I'd known, I would have skipped the 40s and 50s entirely. And just, I could come here, But to be able to do this, to be allowed to do this, that's what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful that we had such success early on, because without that, we couldn't be doing this.
No, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. We've been given some talent. We've been also given, families that nurtured us to allow us or to help propel us in that direction. And we've also been given the ability to actually work hard and concentrate enough to do it. There are some people who have it. We all know musicians who have unbelievable talent, but don't have the self-promotion gene, or they don't have the ability to sit down and focus and do what would advance their careers. It's always so many distractions. It's image and attitude are important at times, and in the business they're important. But sometimes people can just get to the point where it's all about image and attitude and not about musicality. And I think we've kind of hit a path that works for us.
Leave us a comment about Orleans and this 70s classic, What are your memories? What are your thoughts on the song? Pretty amazing story. Share below. You can get Orleans' new Christmas album. Just click on the link below in the description. If you like the video that you've just seen, we invite you to be a part of our community by subscribing. You can do that below. Make sure to check out our new merch, including this shirt, and our Patreon as well. Help us keep the music alive. That's the goal. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Talk to you soon.